Welcome to a very special episode of Bravo and Blaze with Jenny Blaze. You may have heard me say I am done interviewing Bravo Lebs, but we're making an exception for the one and only first Korean housewife ever on Bravo. Please allow me to introduce new housewife of the Real Housewives of Orange County, Katie Ginella.
Oh, thank you for
Welcome.
having me. I'm
You look
excited
am-
about this.
you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
First things first, have you ever been to a P. Diddy party?
No, thank goodness. First of all, I wasn't cool enough to be invited, but also I've been seeing your social media and all the clips that oh my gosh, it's terrifying. It is
I'm
so
like,
scary.
it is. It's so scary and it's like consuming me, but I'm glad that we're taking a break from that
Yeah.
to
Oh my
talk.
God, it's so scary.
So this is your first season on The Real Housewives of Orange County, but you're very familiar with media from your career. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in the media than, further than what they showed us on the show?
Sure. So, my husband and I have been in media for a little over, well, him like 25 years. So, I was first with Fox Sports South. I did a little bit for college football, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I hate football. I really don't care for it. So, I quickly moved to golf. I had a passion for golf. Now, let me just say that on the show, the girls made fun of me because I'm not good at golf. I never said I was good. I was always in media and like women's fashion. So, let's just clear that up. So then I went to golf. I did like college golf. And then I started working for a network called Back Nine Network. And at the time, they wanted to rival Golf Channel and be what they called the what's that saucy magazine about women? I forget. Anyways, they wanted to be like the cool,
Maxim?
hot, yes, the Maxim of golf. That's what they wanted to be. And we
Oh.
were like, at the time, like 27-year-old me was like, cool, that sounds great. And so I got to travel around the country and interview cool people and go to cool resorts and do lifestyle content. It was so much fun. It was like the best years of my life. It was like a travel series. So that's kind of what my husband does too. I tell everybody in long and short, like my husband's like Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, of golf. So he'll go to
Oh.
Morocco, play the best golf, stay the best places, have fun with the prince, eat the best food, and then make a travel show out of it. So
No
that's kind of what
way.
I was doing, but on a very much smaller scale. He's
That
like way
sounds
cooler than I am.
so
So
fun. Is he
yeah,
still doing that? I heard on the show you were saying, or he mentioned he was about to record a podcast. Is that his
yeah,
own podcast?
it is. So he owns a production company. There's like branches of it. So
Mhm.
one of his branches is a podcast. It was for a while. It was the number one golf podcast. He hasn't done it in a while because he's been a little busy with me. But he also does the travel content, and he also tells stories about course redevelopment, course openings. He's about to do a story about how segregation affected golf. It's so cool. So he's amazing. Yeah, that's his business.
Oh my gosh. So you're both truly at heart, you're both content creators.
I mean, definitely him more than me. I'm not as good as it. I mean, our whole family is my daughter's on Twitch and she's
Oh,
a
that is so
professional
cool.
TikToker with her boyfriend and she hates when I call it that. But yeah, our whole family is like media.
That is amazing. Because I mean, this kind of reminds me of Diddy.
Great.
But like, I am so fascinated by media and the history because you look at Hollywood and the Me Too movement, and this new thing with Diddy feels like the Me Too movement on the music industry when we know there's like
Mhm.
so much connected. And I've been saying this for so long that with the advances of technology, now that we all have a production studio in our pocket,
Yes.
things are changing historically. And I
Yes.
am loving this new era. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
dark. We're seeing a lot of gross things, but we need to so that those things
Absolutely.
don't happen anymore.
Right. You'll even notice on Housewives, a lot of the scenes I can tell when they're shot on an iPhone because we did shoot a lot on iPhones
Really?
because because we have that capability. Like a lot of the scenes where we're getting ready, in our own homes are on iPhone. There's a scene of us in Big Bear when I'm
Oh,
making coffee. That's all on an iPhone. Like it's wild. Yeah, because you
that
can't, I
is
mean, there's
so
seven of
cool.
us, sometimes
Yeah.
eight. And so you can't have eight crews in eight places. So a lot of times a producer will come up and film on their iPhone.
I didn't know that. That is
Yeah,
cool. That's a
it
really
is
cool
cool.
behind the scenes little, I don't know,
Yeah.
tidbit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned your daughter is on Twitch. That is so cool. I love that. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, Twitch is a streaming platform for gamers. That's how it started. And
Right.
it's grown. It's bigger than the music and movie industry combined,
Yes.
the
Well, let
gaming
me just tell
industry.
you,
Go
when
ahead.
I quit my media job, well, basically the network shut down. So we kind of disbanded. And the man that started the network I was on, Charles Cox, called me and said, "Hey, Katie, I have this new thing I want you to do." This was 2014, maybe 15. He said, "There's this new thing called Twitch. And what we'd like you to do is to play the Tiger Woods game while people are watching you and you comment." And I was like, "You are out of your mind. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard."
Sounds
And he
so
was like,
fun to me.
yeah. And I was like, "Charles, that's not going to work. Like, that's going to tank." Because he was like a believer and an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Why did I not do that? Like, why looking
You
back?
still can.
No, no, I'm too old. But I was like, that's a horrible idea. And now I'm like, why didn't I do that?
I'm like, I love that about your family. Like, we're getting sidetracked. I need to
I'm
focus.
sorry. So,
No, it's my fault. It's my fault. So, for me personally, I love that you're so relatable because you're Korean. I'm half Korean. You're a mom. I'm a mom also. You have four halfies like me, half
yeah.
Korean. And
Yeah.
you have a blended family too. And we're samesies there. So
Yeah. I love
I
it.
love that you shared, about your family so early on in the season so that we could get to know you. Can you tell me a little bit more about, and I don't know if you feel comfortable with this, but Haley mentioned she feels, abandoned by her biological father.
Mhm.
Since the show has aired, has he reached out? Has there been any change?
No, zero.
No.
He, I mean, Kylie, this is Kylie's thought. Kylie thinks that because she looks just like me and she chose to live with me, that he disowned her because of that. That's her thought. I mean, my thoughts aren't very far off from that. And it's upsetting. I have told him, we are only allowed to communicate on an app, by the way,
Yeah.
but I have told him, even in mediation, I want you to have a relationship with your daughter. It's not like I want to keep you away from her.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
then it got to the point where it was more detrimental. Like,
Yeah.
you can't come into my kid's life like once a year and it be okay, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So, you know, we try to tell Kylie, like, if you keep being affected, if you keep getting upset, and if you keep giving him this power, he's winning. So
Mm-hmm.
instead, you just have to like crush life. You just have to be super happy and make better choices, and then you're winning, you know? It affects her every single day. And
So
to the point
sad.
where I try to say this on the show, but I think it got a little chopped up. She had a lot of problems calling Matt dad. She always called him Padre because he's
Mm.
a very big fan of the Padres. And also, it's Spanish for dad.
Yeah.
So she always calls him Padre. And to this day, it's kind of become a joke. But the day she called him dad, he like wept
Mm.
because it was such a step for them that she was
Yeah.
comfortable and it wasn't like a taboo word in her mind anymore.
Yeah.
But he's dad. He's 100% dad now.
I love that. That's so nice. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I called her Kaylee. Her name is Kylie.
Yeah, but it's spelled, I know. 19-year-old me when I was pregnant was like, that's a cool way to spell it. And now I'm like, oh, what was I thinking?
No, it's all good. I love it. And I love that you mentioned, so you're an adopted Korean and you talk about how growing up you didn't really have any exposure to the Korean culture. Your daughter
Right.
is now look, she's taught herself how to read Korean and
Yeah.
write. And I
Yeah.
love to hear that. For me, my mother is Korean and actually I guess this is like a common thing for Korean for Korean immigrants when they come to communities where it's like predominantly white or not Korean, they will start a church to create their community.
Right.
And
Right.
so my as part of the church that I went to growing up, they would actually work with adoption agencies to invite them to different events that we would have to keep that connection with, the Korean heritage, not like forced on them or anything, but if they
Right.
want, like we're here for you to learn more and things like that. And so it was really sad for me to hear that you really had no exposure at all growing up? There was nothing like
No.
that around you?
I don't want to say that my parents were bad people because they're not bad people.
No, no.
They just they didn't do their research, you know. I feel like if I adopted a child from another country, I would want to layer in their culture a little bit, because that's part of us. And
Yeah.
I was never afforded that. And I just think that they kind of knew what they knew. I had to come to that realization as an adult so I wouldn't be upset about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because you know this, being an Asian American, when you're in a predominantly white community, you're not black, you're not white, you're gray. You're very much in the middle and people don't know where to place you.
Hmm.
And especially being Asian in a white community. And so they're kind of like, well, do you speak English? And I'm
Yeah.
yes, and they don't know. And then they put you into these small buckets.
Hmm.
And it felt horrible growing up. And I wish I would have had a church community like what your church did to
Hmm.
make me feel a bit more welcome. Because I sought love from all the places I could. And sometimes those were not good places,
Mm.
and acceptance. So Kylie, luckily, growing up now in California, has so much Asian community. It's so great
Nice.
for her.
That's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
it's really made a change in her life.
Have you been to Korea?
No, so we were actually supposed to go. This is part of the show. Supposed to go meet my birth mother in May, and then it got pushed back to June. And then my father-in-law went into care at a hospital.
Oh
He
no.
was 90 and went into care and then into hospice, and he passed away end of July. So we've kind of pushed our trip. We keep pushing it back, unfortunately. We're working with Tourism Korea because I think my husband's production company, they want to make a documentary out of this.
Yes, yes,
And
that's what I
so
was
it was just
thinking.
so cool. Yeah. So now we're going next month because we're filming the reunion soon. And I didn't want anything clouding anything
Mm,
before that.
yeah.
So we're going after the reunion, but we're going to potentially meet my birth mother.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I
Yeah.
want to ask so many questions, but I don't want to spoil it.
I
Did you
know.
actually go through, like, you have your mother identified?
I do. So
Oh,
I started this process a little over 10 years ago, and I was filming with a crew in Georgia, and they were going to put this on Discovery Channel. It was going to be like me going to Korea, and simultaneously, I was getting divorced.
mm,
So I called a dear friend who had found his birth family, my friend in Georgia, and I talked to him about it, and he was like, "No, these are two life events at one time. Like you can't do this." And I was like, "You know what? I think you're right." So I stopped the process and then put it off, put it off, put it off, like buried it in a bucket in the back of my brain. And then for my 40th birthday, which was in April, I told my husband, "I'd really like to do this.
yeah,
She is only 15 years older than me, so she's only 55. But who knows how much time we'll have left to meet each other? Life happens and it gets busy and
yeah.
sicknesses. And so I was like, I think I'm ready to do this. I am happy in
Oh
my
my
marriage.
God.
I have four amazing kids. Matt's career is good. My career is it's here and there, but like I'm good. Like I think it's time. And
Oh my gosh, I want to cry
yeah.
right now. That is amazing. I have
Well,
chills.
I will tell you that she wrote me a letter, and I don't think I talked about this on the show, but she wrote me a letter, and she said, "I held you for 3 days and
I
realized
want
that
to
I
cry.
can't take care of you." And but here she named me,
Oh,
and she said, "I love you, but I didn't graduate middle school. I worked in a factory until the day you were born. I had no prenatal care." And
oh
I
my
just don't think I
gosh.
can give you this life. And then after 3 days, she gave me up for adoption. And I commend her for that. And I hate being cliche like, oh, I'm so happy. But I am. A lot of the adopted community thinks they were mistreated because of their
Mhm.
birth families. And I just don't. I've never had anger towards her. I've never had malice or I've never been sad about it. I've been like, I get it. I
Yeah,
truly
yeah.
do. I was raised, I wanted for nothing. My parents really provided for us. And so I'm not upset with her at all. And in fact, this is so crazy. My best friend in San Diego, her name is Nadine, just had a necklace made for me of my birth name. She
Oh,
made a necklace for me with her jeweler that has what my birth mother named me, and I'm
oh,
so excited about it. I should put it on, but she that means a lot to me.
yeah. Oh my
So
gosh, you're
it's
gonna make me
cool.
cry.
But
That's so beautiful. That really is.
yeah, yeah. So I'm excited. I don't know if we'll meet her. She might get cold feet. The adoption agency, I don't know. But as of now, we have a path forward of meeting her.
So are you gonna go with your husband and all your kids?
So we're just gonna go, my husband and my daughter and a film crew. The boys, I don't think my three boys aren't that interested, but also it's something that means a lot to my daughter because of the Korean culture and because she feels adopted now by
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
my
mm-hmm.
husband. And so it's just kind of like a mother-daughter journey right now, I think.
Yeah. Wow, that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
thank you.
cry. Yeah, that is so amazing. I feel very grateful and honored that you shared that with me. So thank
Oh,
you.
thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask about the extended Bravo world before we get into the
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
So you came on the show being friends with Gina,
Yeah.
who you met through Sutton. Can you
Correct.
tell us more about your friendship with Sutton?
Sutton and I connected originally because of golf and both being from Georgia. There aren't a
Yes.
lot of Southerners here in Southern California. So we kind of bonded over like sweet tea and fried chicken and not being available here. And I took her 2 years ago to a charity event with me for Jason Day. And if you don't know Jason Day, he's a very prominent PGA Tour player. Him and his wife are in, I forget the city in Ohio. I think it's Dublin. And so every year for 9 years, my husband and I have been going to his charity event. And it's where celebrities play and people pay to play with the celebrities a round of golf at Jason's personal club. And so I invited her to go with me and she went with me. And
Oh,
it was so much fun. She was like, "Where are we?" I was like, "We're in the middle of Ohio." She was like, "They don't have Belvedere here." And I was like, "Probably not, you know?"
oh my
And
gosh.
we were like in literally in the middle of nowhere, a small little place. And we had a blast. And she's been very supportive. And I told her that I was going through casting, and she, was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Well, I think so." And she introduced me to Gina, and it was that's it. She was great. She's always been very supportive.
That's amazing. And then also you are friends with Cynthia Bailey from Real Housewives of Atlanta. How did you and Cynthia become friends? Was it through the Bravo world or just like coincidence?
I actually met Cynthia's best friend at Sutton's house.
Oh, okay.
And Cynthia's best friend, his name is Derek. He's a sweetheart. He invited me to lunch like the next week. He was like, "You got to meet Cynthia. You're both from Atlanta. You're both in
Mm.
this Bravo world." So we met up, and while we're at lunch, Cynthia gets a call from Page Six, and they're like, "We're outside. We know where you're eating lunch." And Cynthia was like, "Crap, you're not announced yet. Like, how do we go outside?" And I was like, "I'll just like dart off, right?" So she has been a very good sounding board of what's good and what's bad about all of this and
Mhm.
helping me through. And she's a sweetheart. She really is. She's great.
That's great. Are there any
Yeah.
other people in the Bravo world that you're already friends with outside of the show?
Not really. I mean, I've met a lot of them through Sutton and through just filming and events, but not anyone that I talk to on a regular basis, no.
So, have you watched any of these shows before you were cast?
I used to watch New Jersey religiously, like old
Oh,
New Jersey, because I
okay.
loved it. I loved
Yes.
Teresa. Back in
Yeah.
the day, I loved Teresa.
Have you met
And then
her?
no, mm-mm,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
But Rachel Fuda on her cast has reached out to me multiple times, and she's a sweetheart, just
Oh,
like a
that's
sweetheart of
nice.
a human being. We talk a lot on Instagram.
That's
And
good.
I watch Beverly Hills because who doesn't love Beverly Hills? But honestly, people think I'm lying about this. I did not watch Orange County in the
At
last
all?
probably for the last 6, 7 years. Like it just got really dark, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to watch women constantly screaming.
Yeah, they
I
scream a
didn't.
lot.
They scream a lot, and so I guess I was just really adventurous coming on here, but I didn't. And Gina told me to watch it. She said, "You need to do your homework." So
Oh,
I like put it on while I was like doing dishes because in our house in San Diego, it was like long and I could see the TV from like the kitchen and the dining room.
yeah.
So I put it on, but like I went and picked up kids. I came home. And
Yeah.
the only thing I really sat down and watched was the reunion. I
Oh.
hadn't really watched an episode through. Even my husband was like, "Should we watch this or not watch this?" And in the beginning, I was like, maybe I don't watch. So I don't have any preconceived ideas about these women. Maybe I
Yeah.
go in like eyes wide open. But looking back, like maybe I should have watched.
Yeah,
maybe I
maybe,
should
I
have.
don't know. Well,
Yeah.
at least you've seen some other housewives, so you
Yeah.
know kind of the basics of how things go. You understand confessionals, you understand, the dynamics, and you also are from media, so you can understand how
Right.
production works and things like that. So
Right.
I think you're having an amazing first season,
Thank you.
truly.
They always
But
pan to my face because I'm like,
I know.
what? You know? I'm
That's what
like,
I
oh my God.
love. I love that because it's like so relatable. If I was in any of those situations, I would be like staring at the camera the whole time, like, oh my God. Oh my
I
God.
know. I know. I just need to reprogram myself, I think, because being raised, first of all, being Asian community, and also being raised in the South with manners and Catholicism, you're kind of like seen and not heard. And so in those moments where I feel a little bit, things are a little crazy, I shut down.
Mhm.
And I feel, and that's also from past. So I feel like I just need to be confident in saying how I feel in the moment. And I wish I would have done that a lot of times.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Like, as an Asian, I feel that way, just like
Yeah.
not on camera in any group
Right.
setting. Like,
Right.
people look at us, I feel like, as if, like you said, we're supposed to be seen, not
Hmm.
heard. And then when
Hmm.
you do speak up, they're almost shocked, like, oh my
Yes.
God. And
I
they're like,
know.
oh my God, this person's speaking. They have feelings.
I know.
It disturbs them. They're like
I know.
so offended. They're so offended.
I know. It's ridiculous, actually.
It
But
is very
I'll get
ridiculous.
better at it. But I will say that I've gotten a lot of flack for that. But any group you come into, filmed or not filmed, just real life, if you
Mhm.
are the only new person and these people have known each other for 8, 9, 12, 14 years, are you really going to go in guns blazing the whole time? I don't think
Oh,
so. You're going
no.
to just be like tiptoe your way in
Yeah.
and let these women welcome you into their group. And that's
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, how I treated it.
The thing that I was very impressed with, that I was like,
Oh
I don't
God.
think I could ever do this, is
Oh God.
you sticking up to Heather Dubrow. And I love Heather and I love you. Like, I don't take sides in these kinds of things, but I just need to know, how come you were not afraid of Heather Dubrow at all? Like, I am scared to even look at her in person.
Well, I don't know. I just maybe because I hadn't watched, but
Maybe.
also like she's just a human being,
I
you
know.
know? And when I was talking about all that stuff, I didn't think it was a big deal. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was kind of like, well, who cares? You called paparazzi, like it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and I never wanted it to be about the rumor that it
Hmm.
was leading to, okay? It was never about their marriage. Their marriage seems great, whatever.
Hmm.
I was just talking about calling the paparazzi and my friend
Yeah.
alerting. Like, come on. And so I didn't think it would have the reaction it did. You know, I really didn't. And the only reason it did is because Tamara and Emily told her before I could,
Yeah.
so it became this big deal. That's why you didn't see it, but I was laughing most of the time. When
I would
she
be
was
too.
yelling, I was laughing because I was like, why are you losing it? Like, if it's not true, just be like, it's not true, and we'll move on.
If it
Yeah.
was true, who cares?
Who cares? Like if I'm you and I look really good and I'm going out to dinner, I'll be like,
Yeah,
I'm here.
I
But
know.
who
Free
cares?
photo shoot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't, who cares? I think it's great. Whatever. Looking back, I'm like, ooh, wow. I mean, I wish I would have handled things a little differently, but I was so new. Everything was like coming at me 1,000 miles a minute. So, you know, I would have handled things a little differently, I think.
Also, you did a lot with that golf event. Like, you brought clothes to the women beforehand. You organized
Yeah.
that whole event. You had goodie bags, you had prizes. I was very impressed with your
Well,
event.
thank you. I mean, my background for the last 7, 8 years has been in golf merchandise, specifically women's. So I just reached out to a couple of my contacts and I was like, hey, I'd love to give a gift bag. Do you want to put something in it? And Malbon, which is this incredible golf clothing brand, I'm working with them now. They were like, yeah, let's outfit the women. And their stuff is so good. So I was so
It's
excited to
cute.
give the women this stuff.
Yeah, I looked on their site and I was like, oh my gosh, this is
So cute.
exactly what the
Yes.
world needed definitely 20 years ago when I was working for Accenture. And golf was like a
Yes.
huge part of our business. Tiger Woods, I think he had the biggest sponsorship ever paid to an athlete at that time. This was like
Yep.
early 2000s.
Yep.
But golf was a huge thing that was just a part of our corporate culture. And every time we'd go to golf, I was like,
Ugh,
I look like garbage. Like, this
I
is the
know.
worst.
I
Not
was
cute
just
at
with
all.
I was just with the owners of Malbon, Erica and Steven, and I got to see their new collection for women that's coming. And I was like, you guys are crushing it. Because all these like brands say, oh, you can wear it 19th hole, meaning you can wear it after the round is over. You can't. But theirs, you can. I wore one of their bombers last night to dinner. Like,
Ugh,
so
their
good.
stuff is
So
cute.
good.
I looked
Yeah,
at it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was looking for 20 years ago. So
I know, I
good
know.
for them. So over or since the last episode, there was a couple things that happened with
Oh
some of
God.
your
Yes.
castmates.
Yes.
One, Tamra went on Watch What
Hmm.
Happens Live. She said some things about Ryan, oh my God, why can't I say her name?
Pedranti.
Jen
Yeah.
Pedranti's
Yeah.
boyfriend, Ryan. And then Ryan sends a lawsuit to
Hmm.
Tamra. What
Hmm.
are your thoughts on this? Do you have any thoughts, any comments?
Um, I think Ryan was most hurt by what was said in confessional last week, which was that his home was raided by the FBI. And it was not. And it's something about Jen knew about it. Jen didn't know about it and it wasn't rated. So that was what Ryan initially was upset about. And he didn't sue her. He sent her a cease and desist that
Okay.
he wants her to retract that statement
Okay.
publicly, say that's not true. And then she went on Watch What Happens and said, um, he stole the money from the Dodgers player.
Hmm.
Well, that wasn't that good either because FBI dug and combed through Ryan's business and didn't find that. So I think Ryan is upset because she's just saying things that have been proven to be not true.
Yeah, and I think he's well within his rights to send a cease and desist.
And it's hard because we get upset and we get, and we all hear rumors about each other. I
Mhm.
mean, in my DMs, I get rumors about all the girls. And even Tamara sent me something a couple weeks ago. Somebody in the very beginning of our season sent her all my divorce papers. People feel like they are involved in us and our lives and they
Mhm.
send us things. So
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, we could all say those things, but we have to do our research first, I think. It's
Yeah,
hard.
and it's one thing to say things off camera, but it's
Right.
another to say it on camera.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate. The whole situation is unfortunate. And I know Tamara's getting a lot of hate, um, just like Alexis is. But I'll tell you, those two women have really stuck up for me a lot, not only on the show, but off the show. And so it's hard for me. I don't like anyone getting hate,
Yeah.
like Shannon and Tamara and Alexis and even Heather. We're going through it. I don't want her to get hate,
Right, right.
but it's just something that comes with the show. I get it.
I know it's hard to navigate that because you're like, you don't want to hurt anyone, but you also like have to live your life.
Right, right.
But speaking of posting things you're not supposed to, over the weekend, Joel Kim Booster announced he was the host for a new show by Bravo called Love Hotel, and it's a
Hmm.
dating show which Shannon was on, and he blasted Shannon,
I
saying
saw
that
that.
she's awful, she's a terror, all these things. What are your thoughts on that?
I never saw Shannon be awful to production. I didn't.
Good.
I saw her cry and get upset and them say, Shannon, do you want to take a break? Do you want to like I never saw that. So that was shocking actually to read. She was, I mean, I felt with her a lot. I never saw her berate anyone in production. I mean, I gotta believe that the production is not very happy with him right now. He just
Yeah.
gave away the show. I mean, it's a very hush hush, closed set thing. He just gave it away. I mean, I don't think he'll have another job with him in the future.
I know. It's
You know,
unfortunate. I mean, it's wild though. He must know that. And it must have been hit whatever is going on, whether it's true or not, he must be so upset that he doesn't care if he gets another job with Bravo because he knew what he was
totally.
doing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I heard somebody tweeted or X'd or whatever you call it now that he was drunk when he was posting all of that. So
what?
I don't know if it was blown out of proportion or if it's true. I don't know, but I did read that he was drunk.
Oh, snap.
Yes. And if you look at the timestamp, it was pretty late that he
Oh
did that.
no. Oh
Yeah. So I'm
no.
like, oh God. But, that's his truth, I guess. Well, it'll come out, I'm sure, what
Yeah.
happened.
Yikes. Oh my gosh. So, what is your current relationship with the other cast members?
Um, Jen and I are best friends.
I love
Um,
that.
I know we literally call each other the minute we wake up. We're
Oh.
still waking up and we're in bed calling each other. I just got off the phone with her right before I got on Zoom with you.
Oh.
Um, Alexis and I are good. I was telling somebody the other day that she's getting a lot of hate for this whole John Jansen Shannon situation. And I can
Hmm.
see how people would see that in the editing and the filming and the production and all the things and the things she says. She's
Hmm.
responsible for the things she says.
Hmm.
But for me, off camera, this summer my aunt died. My father-in-law died 3 days later, and we moved.
Oh.
And she's literally, other than Jen, the only one that reached out to check on me, checked on me a lot, sent me
No
texts, like
way.
called me, how are you? What can I do? She sent us a bouquet. Like,
Oh.
I get it, I totally do, but she's been nothing but kind to me. So I only give what I get, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Tamara and I are okay. She's been very supportive. Emily and Gina and I are, I guess, okay. I really don't know. Gina and I had a long conversation a few weeks ago that we were going to try to move on. So that's good because I really enjoy being around her. And Shannon and I are okay. Heather and I are not okay, but that's all right.
Really? I over
Really,
this paparazzi thing?
still.
Still?
Yes. And
Oh.
I, I want to clear it up that I am not obsessed with it. I'm really not obsessed with it. I love that people think I am, but if you watch, I don't bring it up over and over and over. Other people do. And
Mhm.
I'm just responding to that a lot. Like I said, I thought it was really a silly thing. I thought
It
it was just
is.
comical. I thought, like, who cares? But a lot of people care, obviously.
Oh boy. Well,
I know.
Fancy Pants has a lot of fans and
She
they're
does. And it's
hardcore.
okay. She's been on that show for years and years. I get it. But I knew I was going to take a lot of hate for that. But I didn't, I got death threats. And that I think is,
What?
oh yeah.
Stop it.
Yes. I screenshot a few of them. And one guy was like over and over and over, go kill yourself, go kill yourself, go kill yourself. And I was
What?
like, yeah. And I was like, over paparazzi?
Over Heather DeBro? Does he know Heather? Oh my God.
I know. So,
That is
you know,
wild. Even if you do know Heather, that's still too
it's
much.
crazy. But
Insane.
she does have a lot of fans. She does.
Yeah.
She's built a good fan base. Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. Well, what about Vicky?
So, Vicky was great during filming. I think she's weary of kind of any of us that are kind of newer
Hmm.
because I think you do build up this like, can I trust you thing when you do
Yeah.
this show?
Hmm.
And I think she's very dear friends with Shannon. And
Hmm.
Shannon, I think, was upset with a few of us that we were friends with Alexis and her, right?
Hmm.
So I think that they're just like, we're not sure about you yet. And I get that, and that's okay,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, being on a reality show, I say this all the time. Like I give all of you so many props because I don't think I would be able to handle it. Like there's so much that comes with it, with the whole social media thing, the fandom. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
think
have
I've ever cried this much in my life, to be honest with
really.
you.
Oh my
Just
God.
like, not just from filming, from it airing, and also how it's affecting my kids when they're bringing out
Oh,
my ex-husband stuff,
mhm.
like not good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it's been very cathartic for my daughter to talk about this on camera because we've never spoken publicly about my ex-husband.
Mhm.
Never, not on social media, nothing. Because I didn't want to give light to anything that was negative. So talking about it has been good for her, but it's hard. I buried a lot of things. I didn't talk about a lot of things. And I was just telling a producer the other day that I've only realized all these things in this show because my home life isn't there's nothing bad in my home life. We don't yell at each other, we don't treat each other badly. So unfortunately dealing with these ladies has brought up a lot about my feelings about my past marriage and
Yeah.
traumas from it, just from the yelling and screaming and the chaotic things that happen.
Mhm.
But it's good because I've allowed now to talk about it and feel things and kind of grow from it. So that's good,
Yeah. I
positive out of
also
it.
I also say that like it's kind of a blessing to have a reality show that you're on because you get to look at yourself over time and really assess like your actions and your behavior and
Yeah.
have even more self-awareness than you normally would if you weren't on a reality show. If you are in a good mindset. I know some people like they can go the opposite way, become delusional and they think they're God or whatever. Like that's a different thing, but I think the healthy way to look at reality TV if you're on it is like to use it as a tool to grow, like you said.
Emily DM'd me that. I can't remember what we were talking about. It was recent. And I told her, it was about her being vulnerable
Hmm.
about this is a few episodes ago with when she was with Shane and they were talking and her being vulnerable about losing weight and working out and
Hmm.
being healthy. And I said, that's really commendable that you are so vulnerable. You put yourself out there, you told your truth. And
Hmm.
she said, the best thing, I'm paraphrasing, but the best thing that's come from this is that she can really look back at herself and see
Hmm.
her mistakes and see her and do better. And I
Yeah.
thought, that's totally true.
Yeah.
To see yourself, I mostly hide when I'm watching the screeners. I'm like, oh my God. Like we get them on Mondays. So we get them
Hmm.
today. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch it, but I hide because seeing yourself that's
It's
hard.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
I can't imagine, like, think about all the people who can't even look in the mirror, let alone on
Yeah,
TV. And that's really
right.
sad. So to be
Yeah.
able to watch yourself on TV, I think is pretty brave.
Oh, it's something. Yeah.
So you did mention the reunion is going to be filming soon. How are you feeling going into filming for the reunion?
Um, it's kind of a scary thing, because you have to rehash all the things that you got over. You weren't
Mhm.
angry anymore about it, and now you're angry again. And I'm just going into it that I was I was myself the whole season. I was truthful the whole season. So there's nothing I have to remember. There's
Yes.
nothing I have to play back and hope I remember exactly this because I told the truth the whole time.
Hmm.
So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to be
Yeah.
there to sit there and talk things out and hopefully come to some final resolution with Heather. I would really like that.
Yeah. That would be good. I would like for you guys to be on good terms.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this moment in time, before filming the reunion, would you sign on for a second season?
I have no idea. We still have a good 5 or 6 episodes, something like that, to watch, or four. I
Mhm.
don't know, some amount. I think I want to wait until after this is done airing, talk to my family
Yeah.
and see how we're all feeling because it literally is our whole family filming,
Yeah.
you know. I think we just have to have a family meeting and see if
No, that's
everyone's okay
good.
with me doing this and being supportive. And I also have to be asked back.
Yeah.
I say like, oh, I don't know, but I mean, they have to ask me to do it.
I mean, I I would be upset if they didn't ask you back because I
Well,
think you've been a
thank you.
great addition. Thank you so much for being here, Katie. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for opening up. I feel so grateful to hear your story, and I'm just going to remind everyone listening to tune in to The Real Housewives of Orange County on Thursday nights on Bravo. Make sure you subscribe, follow, share, like, leave a comment, and 5-star rating for Bravo and Blaze on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to follow on social media at Bravo and Blaze. Our YouTube channel is at Jenny Blaze. Until next time, stay late, y'all.